going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and in case you couldn't tell by the YouTube title, this is an unboxing video where I am going to open this very box for you guys today. My lovely wife is on travel, so I'm going to have to be doing this one solo, and I just couldn't wait because good old GameStop and how they love to do deliveries and how they love to say, well, if you want to pay extra for shipping, you can, or you could just pay the standard amount of shipping, which I think is like $7 or $8, and we'll get it to you 3 or 4 days late. And I said, you know what? I got a lot going on. Had to help my wife pack for her trip, spend some time with her over the weekend. I said, you know, I'm not going to play this thing anyway. But finally, it is here a couple days after launch. And again, if you didn't already pay attention to the title, I am beyond excited for this bad boy right here. We're going to use the box actually as a table, because upstairs is way too hot. Bam. Here you have it. This is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Now, I love this box. This looks amazing. This is from the people at From Software. They're the guys who make my beloved Dark Souls games. They're the guys who made Bloodborne. And while this game appears to be more action-based, it still has a very Dark Souls-esque vibe to it. And when I saw that this collector edition was going on sale, and it was a GameStop exclusive, I was a little bit frustrated, but I saw the price, and it was ridiculously cheap compared to what you normally pay for on these collector editions, and I just couldn't pass it up because you guys know how much I love collector editions. And also, I love From Software, and I felt like what better way to do two things at once than to buy a collector edition from them and support them. So, with that, let's take a look. You got the standard box that has what appears to be a sleeve around it, which I thought I cut off, but again, without Rachel here, I'm just struggling wildly. And although I did think about editing this out, I thought I'd take a minute here while I'm opening this up and cutting off every single plastic tab to remind you guys, if you like what you see, please consider commenting, rating, and subscribing. But if not, that's okay too. I love doing this channel. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Over 1,600 subs. How awesome is that? Very, very excited. So let's keep the train rolling. Outside the sleeve, you have yet another box. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, it's a box. And it says Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And is this taped up individually from the other box? No, it is not, thankfully. Looks like we're done with the scissors for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the contents together. First things first, you're going to get a little instruction manual on how to assemble the figure, which is something interesting. Got some nice padding. And then let's go ahead and take a look at what I see, and then we'll go ahead and slowly put this thing together. There you have the statue. It looks like a scroll, the game, and some coins. So let's go ahead and start ripping all this stuff apart, and then we'll put the statue together. May have to do a time lapse for that. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how that goes. Boy, they weren't kidding when they put a lot of stuff in here in terms of the instructions, and I'm kind of glad I need to read these again. Looks like they tie wrapped this statue to the back of the box, which is actually something that I'm very, very happy about. I received the statue in the mail. I think I tell the story every single time of my Destiny unboxing. And when I ordered the Ghost Edition from Amazon, how frustrating it was that I got it and the box was damaged and the statue inside was damaged. That was something that was very unfortunate. Thankfully, they did an amazing job of, those actually weren't instructions after looking at it. Those are actually explanations on how to cut the statue from the box, which is actually really kind of nice. Like I said, you know, there's less damage, and I don't see any actual damage at all. There's some coins in here. Boy, oh boy, how do you get these suckers out? Oh my God. I have to give this an A for effort in unboxing. I don't know if you could tell how much by the stupid faces I'm making, but man, I have to exert some serious horsepower to get these coins removed. But this is a really nice felt box with the inside. Everything is in really, really good condition. That's something I'm really happy about. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything together. What did you come for? You came for the statue, huh? Now, I could tell you guys that the sword has a little connector piece here. And let me go ahead and take a quick look at it. Do I have the sword upside down? Looks like it sits in there a little looser than I'd like. I'll probably actually put some glue on that. It's actually a very, very, very thin connection. Barely any contact at all. As a matter of fact, the sword's bent. And Unless there's two different ways to put this in, I don't think so. What they basically did is because of the length of the sword, they actually cut it right at the hilt. And you're basically supposed to slide it in. And yes, as a matter of fact, the sword is bent. That's really, really frustrating and very loose. I'll have to play with a hairdryer and clean that up. But outside of that, let's go ahead and take a look at the statue. And then I'll bring it a little bit closer for you guys to check out. And then we'll take a look at the rest of the contents together. This is a really nice piece. I'm going to actually come a little bit closer so we can see it together. What I want you guys to notice, this is the piece I was talking about. The sword basically just slides right off. And this little tiny connector here is supposed to slide into the hilt. And unfortunately, it's not very long. And when you do that, I don't know if you could tell from a dead-on shot, but the sword is actually bent and actually bows back towards the character slightly. It's a little frustrating, but let's go ahead and start at the bottom and work our way up. There you could see the base. You guys know how much I love a good statue base, especially one that does not have any sort of markings at all. Now, if you forget the name, they put it here at the bottom, which is really kind of nice. I love the material on it. I love the paint on it. It definitely has a very nice, unique look to it. Lots of detail in the arm. The game focuses on the fact that your character is kind of missing an arm, and he has this kind of death arm, and you could see a really good shot of that here. Hopefully my camera's doing this justice. I hope so. You could see the amount of like tendons sticking out, and there's actually some bone piece here. There's actually some loose fragments and some what appears to be like metal rods or something holding kind of his arm in place. That's amazing attention to detail. I really, really like it. The scarf on his around his neck, the sleeve on his hand, the way he's holding his sword with one finger up kind of like that. And it looks like he's got some sword guards on his fingers. Nice, another sword completely sheathed on the back, cannot be removed. And then he's got his other sheath here on the other side. That is amazing. I'm going to say that is really, really, really nice. I really like that statue. And again, for the price, couldn't beat it. Now, they also come with some metal coins. What you saw me struggling with before was actually that these coins that have holes in them, and as far as I can tell, they're all the same in terms of like detailing. The way that they're actually inserted into the packaging, there was actually a piece of felt shoved in the hole so they didn't wiggle around, which again, I think is a phenomenal touch. Unfortunately, just a little too hard to get out, but I'm not going to fault them for that at all. Inside, we have a scroll, which has, what is this? Let's see. I'm not even sure what this is. It looks like I'm going to guess it's the game map. It's got a very nice material to it if you're familiar with some of the other scrolls that I've received from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've also received a similar scroll in a previous Dark Souls Collector Edition. This is, I'm guessing, the world map with some markings over here on the side. Could be rolled up. They give you a nice kind of piece of reed to kind of wrap it up if you want to. Additionally, we also have the digital soundtrack, which is a really, really cool touch. I'm curious to see if this is something you actually download via your Xbox, or it looks like you go to a website and redeem it. So I'm assuming you get the MP3s. You can load it into your favorite music player, which is great. Warranty information, no one cares about that. Steelbook. Let's go ahead and open up the Steelbook and take a look at it. Again, really not skimping on anything. They've actually put the official Xbox seal on the opening of the Steelbook, just in case it opens up and things kind of shift around, which I really like. Inside the Steelbook is the game and some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cover art. Let's go ahead and bring this around to show you guys. Here is the cover of the Steelbook, and then here is the backside. Sekiro Shadow Dies Twice. There you can see the whole thing open with the binding. And then inside you have the game disc, which has some art behind the game disc and also a character there. Sorry, my camera's a little too low. And lastly, we also have an art book, which, as you guys know, I've been hot and cold on lately. We have an art book here, which is very, very, very thin. It looks like it's about 20 pages or so, containing random screenshots from the game, character models, weapons, etc. But for the price that I paid to get this really, really, really nice statue with a bent sword. I will fix it. It's a very thin piece of plastic. I'm going to take that into account on my final review score, but it's something I got to notice. The scroll, the coins, the book, the digital soundtrack, the game with a steel book for the price I paid for this, as much as collector editions are going for these days. On top of that, the game actually being good, which doesn't really weigh too much into the collector edition, but it's trending very, very highly right now on Metacritic. I'm going to have to give this a solid 9 out of 10. 1 point reduction for the bent sword. I thankfully have some craft glue to fix it up, and I'm going to have to take my wife's hairdryer and slowly kind of massage the blade to make it a little bit more straight, because you do notice it. And I don't know if the camera does it justice, but you do notice it. Where you notice it really in particular is a dead-on shot that the actual hilt of the sword and the blade is almost at, I wouldn't say a 45, but it's a pretty good angle. And actually, even looking a little bit more at the craftsmanship of the hilt, you could see here between his two hands, the hilt is actually bent. Now, that's not something I'm going to be able to play with. That's just the way the model is. And from distance, you may not notice it. I don't believe that his hilt is meant to be bent like that. And all the promotional art that I've seen here on the cover of the box, etc., I don't think that's the case. So this is definitely a manufacturer error, a quality error. I'm not saying that that's why it's so cheap. It's clearly smaller in size as compared to some of my other collector edition statues, but man, oh man, this is going to look great on my shelf next to everything else. Hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing. Again, I did it downstairs because upstairs is just too darn hot, at least for right now. If you like what you saw, comment, rate, subscribe, but if not, that's okay too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.